Anyways, well, hi, my name's
Hello.
CC. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Cece.
Yeah.
I mean, you can call me John, but if you prefer to call me as my my former Twitch name, by all means, call me Spark. It's been a long time since someone has referred to me in person as Spark, but
I would imagine.
I am ready to slide back into it, just like riding a bike. But I'm ready to jump back into a Twitch conversation.
All right. I don't know. I might go back and forth.
Just
a little bit
interchange. Yeah, I want you to every other. Yeah.
Exactly. Can't get having too comfortable here. Okay.
No, of course not.
Alrighty. So, I guess a bit of an introduction. So, whenever we made that first Pokemon Snap world record progression video, that was about a year ago now. That was like July, I think, or maybe it was June. I can't remember exactly. It's probably about this time last year. Oh no, but yeah, in a month. Anyways, 11 months ago, CJ and I put the video together, and it got a lot of success. And so what we ended up doing is from there, we actually started doing more of these types of videos for different types of games. So we started a whole other channel called Speed Docs. But we kind of changed our approach to the videos, and we do interviews now. So we like to interview the runners, and we like to, get, clips and stuff and have them sort of tell the story a little bit as well. That way it kind of gets more of a real documentary feel to it.
Sure. Yeah. That's a great idea.
I think so too. And I think the people that watch our videos think it's a good idea too. So
the audience has spoken.
Yeah. So they have. All right. So I guess just to get started, how did you first get into Pokemon Snap speedrunning?
Well, it's kind of to tell the story of how I got into Pokemon Snap is basically the story of how I got into speedrunning, period, because it was one of the first games that I really found success in speedrunning. I was getting out of my freshman year of college, so that would be 2013. It was the summer of 2013. A college friend of mine introduced me to speedrunning, and every day in the dorms we would sit down and we'd watch these crazy speedrunning videos, and I just fell more and more in love with it. And not just speedrunning, the act was crazy to watch and a spectacle, but the audience and the community around speedrunning was what really drew me in. The idea that there was this immediate feedback between chat and streamer, and it was this melting pot, especially with Speedruns Live being in its younger form. It's much different now. It really spoke to me. It was a platform that I really wanted to jump into and at least dip my toe into, So that exiting college, I bought a capture card and looked at my because I didn't know what game I wanted to speedrun. The popular ones are obviously, as they still are, Mario, Zelda, those types. But I realized that those weren't interesting enough to me because they seemed really hard. Like watching Super Mario 64 speedrun and being like, I can do that. Like, no one can do that. Like, everything is so specific, and it looks like a circus act, It looks like Cirque du Soleil out there, and I was like, okay, let's do baby steps. And what I did was I looked around at my collection of Nintendo 64 games and GameCube games, because those are my two go-to systems when it came to kind of classic video gaming,
right?
Because that was obviously the majority of speedrunning back then was older games, and the few that I picked up were Donkey Kong 64, which that was actually the first speedrun I did, and Pokemon Snap. I mean, Pokemon Snap was a game that I had played a lot of as a kid and even as a teenager and then as a young adult. But I figured, I knew enough about it. I knew how to play it. I knew how to get to the end. Let's look up a speedrun, or let's at least get a sense of if this can even be done, because it's, I'm sure the plight of many a Pokemon Snap speedrunner is the the newcomer into a chat asking, how do you run a game on rails? That's the kind of the big kind of jokey line.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, right. It's like, it's like, what are you going to speed run? It's a Small World After All game after this.
Yeah.
But I looked it up, and sure enough, I mean, there was not a community. I will say there was I saw one name that did it, and that name was Riker Z. He was the only one that that had any kind of recent footprint in the Pokemon Snap speedrunning trail. And so I started, I kind of modeled that. I did my run, kind of modeled it after the one I saw online, I believe on Speed Demos Archive. Is that right? Is that
yes.
That's a website, right? Okay. I knew it was close. It was either that or close to that.
Yeah. Your memory serves you well.
Yeah, right. SDA. Yeah. So I kind of pieced together a speed run. This was, I was streaming for 2 people, and one of them was me and the other was my college friend. And slowly but surely, I'm sure I could go back to my Twitch VODs and like chart my progress, because I think I saved every PB of mine. And eventually I found Riker Z's channel, and he was streaming somewhat frequently and just kind of fooling around. And he had maybe 15 viewers, and I was like, whoa, like, this guy's legit. Like, this guy,
he's the big time.
Yeah, like, he could fill a classroom with those numbers,
It's a good metric, yeah.
Right, exactly, right. That's kind of how you have to frame it when you're new. I spoke to him. I was in his chat a lot. I asked him questions, and eventually we became kind of friends, and we started to stream kind of side by side and do a lot of races. And he was really the one that showed me the ropes and gave me an idea of what I should know about Pokemon Snap speedrunning, and from everything he kind of learned on his own, and from I know there were, probably dating back to the early odds. You probably know this better than I do, of the kind of the spare maybe there was a speedrun here or there that was posted on SDA or just kind of very slow progress for a few years leading up to the 2010s.
Right.
And so we started to go, and eventually, we started to implement these little things that I wasn't even sure would work, but he assured me that they would, like looking up at the sky for 70% of the run. I'm like, I don't know about this. And he was like, it's gonna work. Like, so much is happening in the, on your eye level. If you look up, you're gonna reduce lag, and everything's gonna kind of everything is going to not slow down. And that is, I think, the one of the bigger turning points in speedrunning Pokemon Snap was the realization that it wasn't a matter of going fast. It was a matter of not going slow. There is a set velocity. And
I hate to interrupt you. Can you say that one more time? You're kind of dropping out a little bit.
Oh, ooh, which part?
Let's see here. You said it was not about going fast, but I think you said not going slow.
Yeah, one of the kind of the crystallizing moments and kind of realizations that the speedrunning Pokemon Snap is not about going fast, but it's about not going slow. In that, you have a set velocity throughout each of these courses, and everything you do slows you down. There's no way you're going to go faster there's no way you're going to gain speed, but it's a matter of everything you're doing in these speed runs is keeping you at that base, that kind of standard velocity. And when that clicked, everything kind of fell into place, you know. Then you realize, oh, that's why we're kind of camera locking and then using that to move around, because if you do it without it, your cart's going to move and blah blah blah. It messes you up in that way. But yeah, it was, everything started to click. I had fairly quick thumbs. That helped me in my speedrunning pursuits, and especially in Pokemon Snap, because I can mash with the best of them, at least in my eyes. And slowly but surely I started to chip away at this, from when I started, this insurmountable goal of the world record. I mean, when I started speedrunning, I had no fantasies about. I didn't even have fantasies. You know, they weren't goals, they weren't fantasies, they weren't dreams. I never even thought about being a world record holder. I just thought about this would be fun. But then, as minutes upon minutes were shaved off the times, that goal started to become clearer, and I realized that it was within striking distance, and eventually, you know. I mean, there was a point where me and Rikers were racing every night and getting close, like we're shaving minutes off our PBs just from races, you know. And then let's see if I can, how close I can get to the day that how close I can get to the exact date that I got the record. I want to say it was October 12th, 2013. I'm gonna put that out there. I don't think it's right, but I know it's
December 24th.
No, that's my latest. It's my latest one. That was my latest run, but the first time that I got the record, which was in mid-October.
You never submitted that, but that might be accurate.
I never did, because do you want? And I think I know why. Is because I think I broke that a couple days later.
Oh.
But I got it. It was by like 0.6 seconds, and I was like, count it, like I don't care, like like it's close. And then I think I got it. I think I got one that was a few seconds trimmed off of that, maybe less than a week after that. But I'm
seeing mid-October, any percent 2219.
There should be a 22 point, like 2220.
Yeah, that would have been better.
Yeah,
2233 is Rikers in September.
Yeah, it was just barely, but it was the big moment, you know. And from there, I mean, at that point when I got that record, it was me and Rikers were the only ones running it at that point, or at least to my knowledge.
Right.
I don't know the exact time Karmer started to run it. It was, I think, a little later, because I know he came up, and I remember him telling me about it, and that he had started and was starting to get better times. But yeah, no, that's kind of how. And that was the 80% one, and then I eventually switched to 100%. I mean, I was kind of doing 100% a little bit concurrently, but eventually the 100% got better and better, and then I think I got the record once with 100%, and then I stopped, because I was like, this category is a nightmare. I never want to do this again.
Because, one of our core points in the 100% video was that it's just shitty any percent.
Right. Yeah, it's putting a cherry on top of a turd. Like it's nothing. It's noteworthy because you're doing more and there's more to do, but it's like doing any percent, but also like there's like a shooter in your house. You know, like there's this random chance that someone's just going to set your house on fire. I eventually got the 100%, and it was I think 25 even, and that was the last PB I gotten. Still, I didn't even try. maybe I did races and stuff, but that was the last I seriously took that category.
Yeah, the last bit of grinding.
Right. Yeah, and from there, I mean, I became like the I didn't set a ton more records, but I gained a little more popularity. I kind of slowly became the go-to Pokemon Snap speedrunner on like Twitch and amongst Pokemon speedrunners. I remember like my highlight was getting I got a Worcester raid, which really what?
I said, "Ooh, like exciting."
I'm like,
no, not who. No. It said ooh. It's like that's like exciting.
Right. Yeah. And that was honestly a highlight of my entire like streaming career. Because it was a point where there was 1,300 people watching me play Pokemon Snap, and it was like, imagine telling myself that 2 years ago and being like, "Who are you?" And yeah, right. But it was Now that was what really cemented me in that point as kind of like a Pokemon Snap speedrunner. I always got more numbers streaming with Pokemon Snap, and I kept going for a little longer, and eventually I just kind of stopped. Eventually I got burned out because I was playing it every night. And
I can see that.
And I was playing it every night, and I was playing it a lot. And as many Pokemon Snap speedrunners know, when it's super grindy and it's doing the same. Sometimes it's doing the same 6 minutes over and over for 2 hours. Especially, I'm sure you guys have newer strats and newer routes that I'm sure lessen that frustration. But like during our point, when we were just kind of doing what we thought was the quickest, if we didn't get a good Butterfree picture in Beach, it was over. It was an instant reset.
No, that hasn't changed.
Is it? Oh, but have you gotten a better way to ensure that picture is above a certain point total?
We essentially need it to be over 3,200 points in order for us to continue.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's still a nightmare. Yeah.
We've done a lot of to just sort of give you a better idea. So we can now get 4,000 points on Pidgey. We get 3,000 points on Beach Pikachu, and we still need the 3,200 on Butterfree. We also get the first Lapras, which is about 100 points less than second Lapras, but it's consistent every time. There's no more like RNG cycles. And yeah, we need to get 22,500 points coming out of Beach.
Right. Oof. Yeah. It was it was a lot. There would be nights where we just wouldn't get out of Beach for 3-4 hours.
God damn.
I know. And it's and I went to sleep with a smile on my face. Like I was a crazy person. Like I was like, oh well, like let's just but I got some really good first half of Beaches. God, it's a nightmare. But yeah, looking back, it's like, yeah, man, I'm surprised I wanted to do anything with speedrunning after all of that. But yeah, no, yeah. So that's kind of a brief kind of summary of my time.
Okay. So just sort of get back into it. So you were running, that was 2013, right? I think.
Yep.
2013-ish. End of 2013. Yeah, that's sort of whenever you kind of dropped off there. So what were some of the strategies? You said that lag reduction was sort of a new thing, right?
Right.
That you guys were trying. Any other type of particular things that were maybe not like common knowledge?
I mean, there were things. There were the idea. Okay, just some little things, like the idea of even like taking a picture of the no, what am I thinking of? The like leading the peak, like in a strategy with the Zapdos is leading the Pikachu and then turning and going and fucking praying that the Pikachu actually gets to the ball, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, little like I can't say there was like a ton of like real groundbreaking like 5-minute saving tricks.
Yeah, and I mean that even to this day, there's not a lot, but still, it's sort of like, oh, we actually thought of a different strat that makes this more consistent, or maybe we get some extra points if we do this kind of pose, right?
Right. There was the in River with the strategy that you do with the Slowbro, the shoulder slowpoke Slowbro kind of combo where you it evolves, you throw the one, and then you take the picture of the Shelder when it's on the Slowpoke's tail before it evolves. That was a fun one to kind of understand and then start using, and then throwing the quick apple to get it facing you, that kind of thing. I have to kind of go through and think a little bit. Are there any that you can think of that come to mind?
I think around that time is whenever the hitting Electabuzz with 2 apples to take a better picture.
Ooh, that is a good one. Yeah.
Because I believe one of Riker's early world records does not use that trick, and so that was discovered sometime around 2013.
Yeah, the idea that you slow the Electabuzz down and kind of cut it in line, and then turn around, lock, and then turn around and take a picture of them. That was something that we figured out in between me learning the game, and I didn't learn the game. I didn't learn to do that when I've learned the game. That was something that we had to find and then learn and implement into our pre-existing route. That was a fun one. I think the whole going out of beach and into tunnel, I think that is there's a pretty big difference in how we did it then and how it's done now. If I'm not mistaken, because back then
it's pretty accurate.
Right. Back then we'd go in, we'd take like BS pictures what I would do anyways. I don't know if Riker did it, but I would take extra pictures to make it a little easier to menu on the way out. And
on which stage? On tunnel or
on tunnel? Yeah. When you first go into tunnel, I believe this is right. When you first go into tunnel, you have to take the multiple pictures of Pikachu, and then I think there was an extra. I think I took an extra one so that it was a quicker menu. It was a quicker kind of menuing out to make the selection of pictures.
Yes.
And I think that was something that I just that was just a little trick that I picked up and went with.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a matter of. I don't know if that I actually saved time in that moment. But
I would say that it does, because otherwise you take 2 pictures of Pikachu and then the third picture would be on the far right, and then you'd have to essentially menu like 2 to the right and then back to the left and then 1 down.
Right.
As opposed to I think if you do like 2 pictures of Pikachu and then like a filler picture, then you can go down and then right, and that's 1, 2 movements instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever movements. So all those little things add up.
Totally. Yeah. And I remember, I vividly remember sitting in a history class, a Western Civ history class in college, and not paying attention at all to the lecture, and just sitting in my notebook, just writing notes about point totals. And like, I'm just like I was thinking just like, man, this would be the best thing for a girl to see me do. And like point totals and the cleanest way to get out of beach and kind of optimizing tunnel. And I remember that was the same day, all like the day that I just like completely zoned out of class, and I think I like failed a quiz. But later that day, those notes helped me get the record later that day. Like that was legit the same day that I got the record. So I'm like,
there you go.
Right, like that quiz. Like I sure, like if you quiz me about Western Civ right now, like I will fail. But hey, we're having a conversation about how I did well in Pokemon Snap that one time. So that is scoreboard, Mr. Scafone. Scoreboard.
Yep. Sacrifices had to be made,
Right. Yeah. If you
there's
could
some-
see me now, college professor Scafone. Yeah.
That's right. That's right, Professor Scafone.
Yeah.
You're talking to a world record holder here. All right.
Get fucked, Skiffone.
It's
Yeah,
the
that's right.
weirdest, man. It's the weirdest flex. Like, if someone talks about, if I'm just like out in the wild, I guess that's a Pokemon pun. And Pokemon Snap comes up, or it comes up and like, oh my god, I remember that. Like, I don't know how you guys feel of being like, yeah, like I not only speedran that, but like I had a modicum of success with it. It's an interesting kind of, it's been an interesting combo to have.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I've had two sort of types of experiences, and every once in a while, it's like trying to explain speedrunning to people who have no idea what speedrunning is, or like have like a very light interest in video games is like really weird. It's like, yeah, I play video games fast, and they're like, why?
Yeah, they're like, why are you
So,
wasting video games? And it's like, I mean, you're right. There was one time.
So just explaining video games or just explaining speedrunning in general is usually kind of awkward.
Oh, totally.
Unless they already know what it is, and then it's cool. And then there was one time I was in a used game store, just like looking at like controllers and stuff like that. And some guys came in, and he was with his girlfriend, and they were looking at all the cartridges in the shop case. And the guy goes, "Oh, look, Pokemon Snap." And I was like, "Oh, some aficionado." And then immediately after he goes, "That game fucking sucked." I was like, "Damn it. How dare he?"
Like, if that game sucks, then why did I used to have a world record in it?
Yeah.
I'd suck it. Yeah. Guess you also suck. Oh no.
Damn it. That backfired.
There was one point later on in college, this is the weirdest thing. Someone it was the first day of class. It's like a gender class. That just doesn't really have anything to do with this. And the guy in front of me just turns around casually and is like, did you speed run video games? And of course, like, I reacted like I got shot. Like, I was just like, how do you? It's like it's like he just like told me what like my real name was, like he just like outed me. And I guess he just like found.
So he knew you from Twitch? Like he was like,
yeah. Well, not he knew me from YouTube videos. He like, I guess because he saw me on a YouTube VOD,
compilation or something.
Yeah, no, I think it was mine. Like, I think okay. There was a point where I would submit the good ones, I would just upload a couple of the good ones to YouTube. And yeah, I know they found me, but I think that was the only time where someone has like pointed me out in public, been like, I know you, I know you are Spark.
Wow.
Yeah,
I have yet to be recognized in public.
It was
except
surreal.
for at GDQ.
It was not something I took. It wasn't like something I was proud of. Like, in the moment, I was like terrified.
Exactly.
In the moment, I was like, right?
He knows my secret.
Yeah, right.
What if he tells people.
Yeah, blackmail me? Like, what? You've been
As if it's not public information.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny.
Most times when I usually like sheepishly tell people that I used to speedrun, and then they're like, "That's awesome," and I always get a better reaction than I'm expecting.
That's good. That's good.
But
okay, I want to ask you a couple questions about. So whenever you first started running, besides Riker Z, was there any other names that you had ever heard of that were speedrunning Snap?
Not actively.
Who was it?
I mean,
go ahead. You said not actively, but was there anyone maybe before
I could not pull up names. I know there were a couple on the SDA the SDA forums and the Pokemon Snap page.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, I know that, and like I remember there were no SRL races happening for Snap, or there wasn't anyone, or at least I couldn't find anyone that was speedrunning it. For the most part, I think at that time it was me and Rikers.
Gotcha.
That said, I don't want to say that and then have someone be like, "How dare you? I was I was there every day in your chat, supporting you and telling you to watch my stream, and you ignored me." If there was someone else, then I guess they didn't make enough. I didn't interact with them enough. Yeah.
I gotcha.
Also,
the only name I can really find is Gia, who did the 2402 back in 2008.
oh, yeah. That was a really early one.
Yeah,
But
he
I don't
was
know if
the earliest recorded speedrun, and it's I put the video out on the 10th anniversary of that, so that is 10 years old.
wow. That is, yeah. I mean, ours are now this. Wow, it'll be 6 years this October, or this summer will be 6 years since I started speedrunning.
Yeah.
That's bananas. So
What's funny is that in the grand scheme of things, 6 years isn't that long time, but I think most people on the internet are pretty young, and that's a
Sure.
pretty significant chunk. But also,
yeah.
internet time goes by so much faster.
Oh yeah, it's like dog years. You know, it's like internet
Exactly.
time is
Exactly. That's a good way to
yeah.
put it.
Right. It and when I think back on it, my real like heyday, or my Twitch, like my better periods of streaming only maybe lasted 6 months, but it felt like they lasted 2 years. Like it when I look back, it felt like, I mean, that's probably because I was streaming hundreds of hours, and you know, I was doing so much in so little time, because I was just streaming like 6 hours a night.
Gosh.
Yeah, it was not sustainable, and it proved to be not sustainable because I didn't last very long.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I look back very, like, those times, look back very fondly on those times, and the friends that I've made, and the highs of getting, like, you know, like getting rated by people, by streamers that I admired, and and get to a place where I, you know, where I could talk to, I could talk to almost anyone, you know, and it was fun. Not just from like that sounds like I'm just looking at it from like a status point, like I'm admire that I'm cherishing status, but it was cherishing community, you know. I cherished having a group of people to hang out with and talk to every night, and bounce good and bad strats off of, and race, and just kind of keep up with. It was something that I'll never forget, and yeah, I'll really cherish.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons why I like streaming so much. I've taken a bit more of a slow burn approach of I stream 2 or 3 days a week, and I try to stream like 2 or 3 hours a stream, do a couple of speed runs. You know, if I get really annoyed with the speed run, I'll usually just swap to a different one. And then eventually I'll kind of make a circle and I'll come back to the things I've already done. But having a community and like talking to other runners and having people in your chat, having consistent members in your chat,
Right.
it's like, what a crazy time. What a crazy thing that, like,
Yeah.
I have more friends now than I've ever had in my life. Back in like high school or whatever, like I've had way more friends now because I have people that consistently come back, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah, and the idea of like, there's so much to watch online and on television, and there's so much to do. The fact that there are people who at that point chose to watch my stupid little streams amongst, they could have watched Breaking Bad.
Exactly.
But no, they wanted to watch my stupid streams of me being an idiot for 5 hours, and that was their preferred entertainment for the night. And that is like something that to this day I still cannot properly wrap my head around. You know,
Mhm.
it was a privilege. It was a privilege to be someone's entertainment. It sounds weird, but I mean, and that was something that I always. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm here talking to you because I had a modicum of success speedrunning Pokemon Snap. But what I always felt that the reason I kept I kind of kept momentum and kept people around was not because of like my skill. I mean, I had like I said, a modicum of success. I had a modicum of skill, but I was someone who went the extra mile and tried to entertain and tried to be fun and tried to provide like a kind of off the wall kind of stream experience. And I think that's what kind of helped me stand out at that point amongst other runners, and kind of looking back, like looking back on different runners, and looking back on different record runs, like it's like, oh, this is a new record. They implemented this and that. Like, oh, and here's John's. He like jumped up and down and like did a lap around his room when he went over and screamed and like cried. Yeah. Oh man, like it was. I was happy to do it. It was fun. Above all else, it was fun to.
That's what matters, man.
Be a streamer, yeah.
All right. I don't know if I ever mentioned it. I feel like I have. Back whenever I was first learning, this is like late 2014, early 2015, I think. I looked for the best English time on the board because I didn't have a Japanese cartridge, and you were the best English time on the board, and so I watched your run a couple of times, and so I was like, man, this Spark guy, he's so cool.
Oh, thank you, man.
so while I may not have gotten to watch the stream live and been a part of it, I did kind of get a taste of the heyday.
Like that's nuts. Like the fact that it wasn't something. It was live, but it was something that stood for longer. It's something that had its own way, kind of its own legacy. It's something that I'll never properly wrap my head around that, and I'll never be thankful enough, and I'll always appreciate it. So I appreciate you wanting to interview me, and I appreciate I appreciate you thinking that I'm someone who's worth interviewing. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. Not to give you too much of an ego boost, but you know.
No, I will happily knock down any ego boost that you give me, and I will swat it down like a beach ball at a barbecue. You know.
There you go.
But I guess the one thing is the Japanese cart advantage, and the reason why I never even tried, and to this day I think I still own a Pokemon Snap Japanese cartridge. But when we were running it, there was always it was always brought up. It was brought up. It wasn't always. It was occasionally brought up. Why didn't you do Japanese? One, I didn't think it was easy to find. I'm like, man, I'm a broke college kid. I don't know where to find this. You know. Two, Rikers and I were convinced that it wouldn't change anything, and foolishly, man. We thought it was, though it helped, you know, even though switching to a Japanese cartridge helped in almost every other Nintendo 64 speedrun, we thought somehow it didn't apply to us because, what was the reason? There was a reason behind it, because something was a little longer. Is it the point calculations were a little longer, or like there was some bit that were like, oh, that's sure, like the text will cut down some time, but it's going to be made up by the fact that another bit will keep adding time onto that, and that had convinced us that it wasn't worth it. God, I can't imagine what we might have done if we had gotten the Japanese cartridge, because it seemed like as soon as someone figured that out, our times were toast. It was a matter of like, it didn't even have to be a better run than ours. It just had to be on the Japanese cartridge, and it was like, bye. And then of course the routes were optimized, new strats were discovered, and then like even as long ago as 2 years ago, there were runs that had the Japanese cartridge, but were just head and shoulders above runs that me or Rikers were doing all those years ago. But it always kind of leaves me wondering, what if there was 3 months ago, I sat down with a couple friends and I did a run of Pokemon Snap, and I did one in the way that I knew. I think it took like 45 minutes because there was a lot that I forgot, and it was a lot of it was just kind of stabs in the dark. And I think at one point I didn't have everyone. Like I was missing. I had like 39 types at one point. I was like, oh no, I need 40 or whatever it is, and I had to like go. I didn't know which one I missed, so I just had to grab just like a random one from, I think, like Cave or something. I think I had to go all the way and get Jinx in Cave.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I did it, and it was actually pretty fun. But maybe I mean, maybe someday I'll try and do a Pokemon Snap stream, but
Hell yeah.
not anytime soon because I don't have a I don't have a good TV for it.
Gotcha. A couple things real quick. If you did a stream with Donkey Kong 64 followed by Pokemon Snap, and then I think one more other thing, I think I was there for that.
Oh, back in I did
like
that
a year or two ago.
tail end of college. Yeah, so it was 2016.
Yeah, I was there for that, I think.
Really? Oh, that's funny. Yeah, no, that was fun. I just did that because my good group of friends from college had just found out that I used to be a speedrunner, because it's not something I bring up, and it was like they learned. I mean, they were just like floored, and they were just like, "You have to show us now, right?" And I'm like,
Exactly.
"Okay, fine." So yeah, I did
turn on the old Twitch stream. Let's see what
right. Yeah. And they were just like, just like giggling at the fact that like people were just like, Spark, like I love, I missed you, man. Love watching your streams. And they're just like, our friend is a celebrity. What is happening? And I'm like, I'm really not, but okay.
I gotcha.
But no, it was really fun, and that's something that like if I think I still have my capture card. It's a matter of if I ever get I need a little CRT TV, then maybe one of these days you'll see me fire up the old stream again.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention is what I think is really funny about the testing Japanese thing is I actually did extensive testing to find out exactly where cartridges or which version saves time.
Oh sure, yeah.
The English version is actually faster up until signs, because even though it loses some time to the text, I think it loses like a whole second or two on the Pesterball text and the Apple text. But the fact that the points clear away faster every time it like checks every single picture, that makes up all the time difference. Everything inside the level is exactly the same. Like the code is like 100% the exact same. No differences.
So why do people use Japanese then?
So the reason that English loses time to Japanese is because every time you go back to the lab, Professor Oak goes, "Welcome back." That voice line has to play out entirely before the text is actionable. Meaning that in the Japanese version, when he goes, "Dosegero," or whatever he says, like that's a shorter voice line. And you actually save 1 second for every single time you go to welcome back. Yeah.
That's funny. So
it's so
it saves
strange.
time the way you thought it would. Yeah.
Yeah. So it actually saves about 20 seconds. I think about 15 of those seconds are specifically every time you go back, you lose that time. And it's pretty nuts. Like if you actually compare the two times on English and Japanese side by side, up till signs is the same, but then since you have to like go into a level, take one picture, leave, and then go through the oak thing, and then go into another level and do it all over again, you're not really doing the text clear thing. So the slower text really builds up on just that last stretch, and that's just enough to really screw you over. It's really interesting. And it's like if you didn't test for that specifically, I can see exactly why you would not find like, oh, these seems exactly the same. It's like because they are like almost exactly the same up till the very end.
That's crazy. Yeah. Okay, cool.
So don't feel bad.
No, yeah,
you guys did some basic tests and you found what you should have found.
We did what we could, and then interesting, huh? Okay. So why? So for that, people stick to the Japanese. Do people at all do English? Is there still
generally not really? Like it's still a pretty solid version to run on. I mean, it's only 20 seconds slower or so.
Yeah.
So if you're a beginner or if you're still learning the ropes, if you're not pushing for world record, essentially, you can still get a pretty decent time. I think. Let me double check. I think I have the leaderboard open real quick. I can sort by the best English time. USA. Quo has a 21:19 on English.
Oh.
So that's pretty solid if you look at all. Yeah.
Oh man.
2019 or 21:19 is 13th place. So even if you played on English, you could still get pretty far up the leaderboard.
Yeah. If I ever hit a big bout of unemployment, then
looking for that Twitch bucks, dude.
My friend, my one of my friends is just like, I don't understand why you don't just quit your job and just become a full-time streamer. I'm like, it's really not that easy.
It's not that easy, and it's not that lucrative.
No.
Yeah.
What is funny is that when I got out of stream, like, it seemed like there was a point. Well, when in my heyday of streaming, it was really hard to get partner. It was really hard to get like a sub button.
Mhm.
And like I was right on the edge. I was right on the edge at that point. If the rules that apply now were back then, things probably would have been different because I would have gotten that sub button. Because now they give it to anyone, right? Like it's way easier to get a sub button now. Because I was like,
I think the metric is an average of 75 viewers, and you have to stream on like a fairly regular basis.
Insane. You needed like 350. You needed like an average 350 when I was doing it, and Jesus. I was teetering on maybe like 200, 210 per stream, and I thought that, and I was like, this isn't enough. Like, I can't cut it. But man, if I had gotten that and I had made, and if I had gotten a little income from streaming, then yeah, would have been a different kind of an alternate timeline there. But at the same time, I would have had to keep up those numbers by playing Pokemon Snap every night, and that was killing. Yeah. That was just too much. But
well, the thing about partnership is that if you get partner status, you don't ever lose it, unless I think
there's another Snap runner named Jazzy Choi. I don't know if you know who he is.
That name sounds familiar. Yeah,
Jazzy Choi, 1991. He is also a Snap streamer, or he used to be a Snap streamer. I think he does other stuff, but he even though he hasn't streamed in like 2 years, like he still has a partnership. So it's like, yeah, if you had gotten it, man, you could have come back anytime you wanted.
Right. And that's that sweet side hustle. You know, never say never. I think the biggest hurdle is me finding a TV. So
that's fair. Nowadays they have affiliate status, which is kind of like baby partner, but you still get paid. You get a sub button, you get emotes and everything. So,
wow, yeah, cool, man.
Yeah.
So, what is the timeline on the video?
So we're trying to put it out before SGDQ. So that's like mid-June.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's we Yeah, well, I mean, we already did the video before, right? So we know.
Oh, so the video's in the can. You just have to plug in the quotes. Nice.
Well, more or less, we're gonna redo the video. But we've already done it before, so we have the script like already done. We tweaked it with all the new information, and we kind of went back and rewrote a couple of bits here and there. But overall, it's like we kind of already know what we're doing. We're doing the interviews. Go ahead.
What did you want to change in it from the last version?
There was some wording things. We want to explain a few things a little bit better. One of the things that I don't really like how it ended up being is that we kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Glazed over, Quo's 2050. So whenever he got the record with 2050 back in 2017, that was the last record. And I was kind of like, and then Quo got 2050, and that's where the record stands today, right? And it's like, we didn't really go into why or what happened or what was going on. So, plus we've been doing this for about a year now. Like CJ and I have been making more videos, and so we're actually pretty good, I think, at what we're doing now. We have a better idea, and
this is one that's close to your
so
that's awesome, man.
But yeah. Well, plus, actually talking to runners means that I actually find out more stuff. Like I didn't realize that you had multiple videos that you never submitted.
Oh yeah. Actually, let's.
Do I have permission to? I was going to say, do I have permission to upload those, or not upload those, but to submit those to the leaderboard?
Absolutely, take whatever you want.
Okay.
Please let me. I'm looking at it right now to see which ones I actually see which.
Because you have a pretty solid number. 2214, and then you have 2219, 100%, and 25.
My first one, was 2802 for 100% speedrun. That's nuts. Yeah, no, yeah. I saved all of my PBs basically.
That's good. That's good. I love it when people do that.
No, looking back, I'm really glad I did, because now I can, I can, it's like a memory, like a photo album of sorts.
Exactly. Exactly. You go back down memory lane. You get to sort of watch a time in your life when you were doing this stuff.
Here it is. Yeah, it's 22:29.5. That is the that was the first record I had.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how
Yeah,
close I was.
29.5. He was a 29 or 22:30, I think. So you were right
Just
there.
6 years ago. What day? Tell me what day this came out.
You have to hover over the 6 years ago, and it should show up.
Let me go back.
It's really annoying. I hate how it did. This one says October 1st, 2013 for the 0.5.
Oh, it was September 30th. That's it. September 30th, 2013 was my first official record. Let's see, I got the 2219. Oh my god, I was actually okay. So there's the 2219, which I got on October 11th, which was shockingly close to the day I guess.
Yeah,
I guess this was the 12th, but that isn't the real. My first record was 2 videos before that, which is September 30th, 2013. That is the 22:29.5.
Okay, I see it. On Twitch, it says October 1st, 2013. That's probably because it was highlighted the next day or something.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, that probably makes sense. Either way, it's that. Yeah, whatever that one is.
Gotcha.
But yeah, those are. Yeah, no, I think I went back like last year and just kind of watched them again. Kind of filled in some commentary on them because you can add comments after the fact now.
Oh, okay. I'll have to go back and watch them again, or I will be watching all of these, and I will.
You do.
And if there's anything of importance, I'll make sure I put it in my notes.
I highly doubt that any of the commentary that I put will actually be legitimately insightful and will help your documentary at all. But I can assure you that it would add add some kind of context as to where I was as a person.
I got you.
but yeah, no, yeah. Please use whatever you want to, and let me know when it goes up.
Yeah, for sure. I'll let you know. If you want, I'm going to give you a role right now, Speed Dog Helper. So I don't know if we have a tab for it. On the bottom, we have our projects right now. We're doing a Kirby Air Ride video, and then after that, we're going to do the Snap video. But if you look at CJ's video progress, we'll be putting up like what do you call it? Like a proof. Essentially, it's like hey, here's like the first 10 minutes of the video. Like,
nice.
You can check it out. So,
oh yeah, I mean, I'm not in a rush. I mean, I'll happily watch it when it's completed. You know, like I don't need to like watch it and then like give you approval about what I said. You know, like it's all good.
All right,
but yeah.
Okay, man. Listen, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk to us. I think we had a lot of fun today.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for reaching out. It's been a while since I've really dug this deep into the those times, and I was really happy to do it. It brought up a lot of good memories.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll see you out there on the battlefield of Twitch.
Right. So, yeah, of course, man. All right,
man. I'll talk to you later.
All right. You have a great day.